All right, metabolic adaptations is a big buzzword in the fitness industry in 2021 that you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. Now, before I explain what it is, we need to be clear that there is a very different meaning when someone says they are experiencing metabolic adaptations and being metabolically adapted. So let's be really clear about metabolic adaptations. They're super normal. They're supposed to happen. We are adaptive human beings, and that's a good thing because metabolic adaptations are the body's normal response to effectively adapt to the environment in which we find ourselves. And these adaptations take us away from normal homeostasis or the normal set point that the body wants to live in. Now, logically, ask yourself, take a few seconds to think about this, and I'll wait. What happens in the body when you start a diet? All right, so you might be thinking about things like your hormones change or your sleep changes. You can maybe add some muscle, blah, blah, blah. It's even less complicated than that. The first thing that happens when you start a diet, at least it should, is you get hungry. Because you're eating less calories than your body wants to remain in that homeostatic set point. So yes, there will be hunger. And by the way, that's a good, normal thing. And that means your body is working the way it's supposed to. And this is an example of a metabolic adaptation. Okay, so your body at that moment, though, does begin adapting because your body doesn't understand that diets are temporary. Your body only understands what is happening in the now, right? The inputs that are happening right now, and it extrapolates that forever. So it perceives that it's in a deficit today. It thinks it's going to be in a deficit tomorrow. Now imagine, you can take a second, I'll give you a second. Imagine being in a calorie deficit forever. What would happen? Well, you're going to lose body fat. You're going to lose all that insulation around your organs. And ultimately, at some point, you're going to die. And now your body doesn't want that, neither do you. So what does your body do? It moves that set point to allow survival. And that will include downregulating, aka turning off adaptations to like hunger to compensate, right? This is when the body will stop burning fat as it isn't sure when the next food is coming. So it'll actually begin to prioritize holding on to fat instead of burning it. So remember, we're human beings. We're put on this earth to survive and thrive and procreate. We're not put on this earth to have a six-pack that looks really good at the beach or to show off that six-pack at the gym. So with that understanding, we need to know that when we're in a caloric deficit, things like hunger are good signs. Things like a small loss of energy are natural. Heck, you might even notice not feeling motivated to get active for your workouts, right? A sign the body has reduced affinity for NEAT or non-exercise activity thermogenesis. At some point, you might even notice losing a little bit of strength as well. But what we need to guard against, though, is when these adaptations stop or don't show up, which means we are now metabolically adapted. So by the time people find me, the common story I usually hear is, Dan, I went on a diet, lost a bunch of weight. I was eating around 1,000 to 1,200 calories. Now I just can't lose anything. I'm eating the same 1,200 calories a day and I'm stuck. So my first question I usually ask is, well, are you hungry? Which they always reply, no, I'm never hungry. And herein lies the problem. Science tells us that to lose weight, we need to be in a calorie deficit compared to our activity level. So how are we going to create more of a deficit in a scenario like this? Because what your body is telling us by not losing weight at 1,200 calories is the body is now adapted to that number being the new set point in this homeostatic balance. So if you change nothing and wanted to lose more body fat, in essence, we're looking at you needing to be at 700 calories to even begin the conversation about facilitating the notion of losing weight. But let's not forget about all the hormonal repercussions that are going to come with being at such a low daily caloric intake. And let's not even mention all the other issues with your HPA access that are likely going to happen with that. But that's for another video and another day. So let's just focus on the adaptations. So understanding that metabolic adaptations are a normal part of every dietary process, what I'm guarding against from my clients is the issue of becoming metabolically adapted, i.e. getting to that point, that 1,200 calorie new set point where the new normal is where you create a deficit and have to be at 700 calories. That's where we always need to be guarding against So how do we do that? It is to institute strategic diet breaks. Diet should not be one long continuous calorie deficit where you're going 20, 26 weeks or a year, right? We often see this in the fitness industry these days. So make sure you have a strategic diet break, and this can be along the lines of the Matador protocol, where you spend 2 weeks in a deficit and 2 weeks of maintenance and just cycle through that. Or second option, you could add what us nutrition coaches call refeed days, where every 2 to 4 days, you're gonna be eating at a little bit higher calories sitting around your maintenance. Or a third option is you could easily just take a week off in the middle of your diet, right? It doesn't matter what application you use, but it must be present in your diet if you want to see success in terms of guarding against becoming metabolically adapted, right? And you don't want to screw up your long-term success. Now, ultimately, if you want to ignore this advice and eat super low calories the rest of your life, and that's how you want to live your life, afraid of gaining weight, never being able to enjoy life or go out for dinner, enjoy a drink with your friends, then I guess that's your choice. But it's my job as a coach to inform you as to what metabolic adaptations and the condition of becoming metabolically adapted are, but I hope you don't choose that direction. So I hope you choose to go into a calorie deficit strategically and cautiously. And I hope you can choose to implement refeeds or whatever strategic break we talked about, and you understand that this condition is and what these adaptations are, and ultimately they're not bad, and you're probably gonna be okay. So now, if you wanna know more about this, slide to my DMs. I'd love to hear from you and help out if I can. Peace.